Hey guys, DJ AJ 101 here, and I'm here with you today with a review for you of the Canon PIXMA MG5320 all-in-one wireless inkjet printer. Let's get started. It does a slew of stuff, and it has a slew of different features in it as well, all the way from 9600 to 2400 DPI, as well as 5 individual high performance max ink cartridges actually inside of this printer itself. But it actually does a ton of different things that I really didn't have a chance to test each one individually because I really didn't have a certain situation where I had to try each one individually. So I'm just going to kind of put them around me so you guys can see all the feature sets that it does. It has a ton that, like I said, I didn't really get a chance to actually test them all personally myself, but I actually did find it nice that they actually included so many different options. So really, if you're anywhere from the DSLR picture taker that you can actually take still frames out of your HD video shot on your DSLR, I thought that was kind of neat, to also being able to do fun little effects right on the printer itself, not even needing any external software, as well as CD printing. So if you have printable CDs or DVDs, you can put them right through, print on the labels. It's very, very simple. Now I will go on to say some of the things that I did like about it and some of the things that I did test out with. I know I got this printer, and it's basically just, for me, a wireless printer. It was basically bought to be a wireless printer so that I didn't have to have a cable connected to it, because our last printer was USB only. So this one really was a nice breath of fresh air, our first really, true quote-unquote wireless printer. So it was nice to have, and one of the great things that I actually found about it, and I got some video of this, it actually has a little scroll wheel. So it's kind of like the old classic iPod touches with the click wheel, where you can actually scroll the wheel around and, back and forth, and you can basically choose your different options in kind of like a panorama setting where it'll keep going over and over, kind of like in a cylinder, rolling around. And then you have 3 separate buttons on the top that you can click whatever you want to do basically through the menu system. So that was actually a pretty nice way of implementing it. I haven't seen too many printers actually implement it in that specific kind of way without actually having to go a full touchscreen interface on the printer itself. But this was a pretty unique way of doing it. I did enjoy using that very, very much when I set it up. Now, like I was just saying, one of the biggest things, and basically really the main thing I bought this printer for, was actually the wireless printing capabilities to print anywhere from your desktop that is a wireless card into your laptop, to your iPhone, to your iPad, to even your Android phone. Really, it has a ton of wireless options built in, as well as native support for Android and iOS devices. So that was one of the big turn-ons, for me, for getting this printer off the bat. And of course, I did a little test of it just so you guys can see when I printed something from my iPhone. I actually printed it, and actually the really cool thing is the tray that actually folds up. It'll actually fold out when it starts printing, so you don't even have to have the tray down, even if I was in a different part of the house, to actually print this stuff. So it'll actually fold it down when it's beginning to print, and that was a really nice, I thought, feature, so not that the printer doesn't know that it's closed and everything gets jammed up and it becomes a real mess. Now, not everything about this printer was positive, I must say. One of the biggest things that I really noticed is that when you wirelessly print, it does take some time, especially if you haven't been printing in about a day or so, for it to actually print and transfer the data and stuff like that. I'm just guessing that maybe it's because it is a little bit of a cheaper wireless printer. It's not that, I don't think it's the cream of the crop on the market as far as wireless printing. It does do the job very well, but it was a little bit slow getting the data and then printing and stuff like that. And I'm sure maybe if I messed around with the settings a little bit more, I probably could have sped it up. But overall, for the quality, it did print pretty decently, but it is a little bit slow on the other half. One of the other big things that I really have to put a knock on this is actually the only way to upgrade firmware on this printer, and I did see it on Amazon's site because that's where I ended up buying it, that the firmware actually needed to be updated. And one of the only ways to update the firmware is to actually having to plug it into a USB port on your computer to update the firmware to the actual printer. Now, in this day and age, I think that's kind of a little bit of an offset, just because it's kind of like, well, if it's wireless, it should kind of be, kind of like with Apple pushing out the iOS updates over the year now to the iPhone, you should be able to do it without a wire to your printer. And the fact that it doesn't include the USB cable as well, so you have to make sure that you have that specific kind of USB cable laying around, as well as a computer to hook it up to actually be able to upgrade your firmware on the printer. That was kind of a knock. I thought they could have at least done it wirelessly, kind of like search for wireless updates on the printer, and it could update itself all automatically. But that really wasn't the case with this one. But like I said, overall, this printer is it's pretty simple for me. I'm not doing the advanced CD printing. I'm not doing DSLR video still shots, pulling it off. I'm not doing any advanced picture editing or picture printing, for that matter, actually on the printer itself. Every now and again, I'll print a picture. It actually looks pretty good, so it wasn't too bad at all. But I'm not really using all the advanced features that this printer actually would offer you if you really needed every single advanced feature on this printer. But it is nice to have, like I was saying in the beginning, and if you guys have any more questions, I would love to answer them for you. So please feel free to leave a comment below or send me a personal message, which is probably the best way for me to answer your questions. That way I get it directly. I don't have to, skim through a bunch of comments, depending on how many comments this video gets. But like I said, guys, I've had a lot of fun using this printer. I cannot recommend it enough for the average user. If you need to wirelessly print, it's a great upgrade, and it was really super easy to use. I really haven't had an issue with it at all yet, so it's basically been really rock solid. And after I did the firmware upgrade, really was quite easy to use with my iOS devices and more mobile devices here in the house. But I'd like to hear what you guys have to think. Hold on one second there, AJ. Don't wrap it up there quite yet. I just want to let you guys know about also a hardware tour that I actually did in the unboxing. I will leave a link right here on the screen right now as an annotation if you'd like to see that. I didn't cover that in the review because I figured I covered it in the unboxing, and a lot of people might be asking about hardware-wise what it all has. So I'll leave an annotation right here on the screen if you guys would like to check out my unboxing. I cover a little bit more of the hardware in depth, kind of give a tour of the device. So if you guys would like to check that out, the annotation, like I said, will be right here. And now let's finish out the rest of the video right now. Please leave your comments below if you own this printer, if you've had a great experience, or if you haven't, or maybe something that maybe I missed that everyone else should be aware of. I'd love to hear it, so please leave your comments below. I think the YouTube community can all appreciate that. Also, feel free to rate this video up, subscribe if you happen to like my content. Also, please feel free to check out my YouTube channel. I do a lot of tech content like reviews and tech stories and stuff like that, Apple-centric and non-Apple-centric. It's a lot of fun for me, and I love doing it for you guys, and I sure do appreciate the support. But anyways, guys, this has just been my review of the Canon PIXMA 5320, and I will see you guys in my next video. Have a great one till then.